And you should have a pop-up. All right. Well, good evening. My name is Jeff Allen. I am the president of, I get the honor of being the president of the Kitsap Community Food Co-op, and more importantly, get to work with an amazing group of board members that we have working to fulfill our mission as a food co-op. So welcome to the 2024 annual meeting. We're a little late with our annual meeting this year, but we wanted to make sure that we got it off before the end of the year. Our agenda for this evening looks like this. We're going to do some introductions, and some people may not know who your board members are. So we're going to take a moment to introduce all our new board members this year, as well as recognize some other folks. And then we're going to talk about community. David Albright, our vice president, is going to share some of the events and ways in which the community, the Kitsap Community Food Co-op, has been connected to the broader community in Kitsap County. Then we're going to have a store update from Emily Haushen, our store manager. She's going to share with us some of the different things that have been going on as a store to improve what's been going on. We'll also have our financial report. Past board member, current bookkeeper, and super volunteer Wendy Pond is going to give kind of a financial status of the food co-op and where we're at and where we're heading. As well as then I'll give kind of a state of the co-op and share with you some of the goals that the board has for the co-op and some of the things that we're doing towards addressing those goals. Finally, we're going to open up for a question and answer period. If you have any questions, so if something is said during our presentations that raises the question for you, I ask that you post that in the chat feature in Zoom. Ashley will be monitoring that. And then at the end of all of our presentations, we're going to create an opportunity for everybody to ask any questions that they have. We'll have plenty of time to chat and talk with each other. And so we ask that you hold your questions to the end until we've gotten everybody's presentation through. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First of all, one of the things that we do at every board meeting, in order to stay focused and attention to the mission of the Kitsap Community Food Co-op, we start every board meeting with a recitation of our mission statement. This mission statement was established by the board back in around 2009, 2010. And we stick to it, and we continue to look at it and measure our work towards that vision. And so I'd like to express for you our mission statement. The Kitsap Community Food Cooperative connects our local community with quality food, products, and access to information that promotes a healthy future for our families and our planet. Together, we work towards a world where mutually beneficial relationships exist between producers and purchasers. And here in Kitsap County, that's especially important because Kitsap County has a long history of a strong and fruitful agricultural industry that over the many decades of expansion and growth in Kitsap County, those local farms have been reduced. And so it becomes increasingly harder for people to find and access locally produced food. And that's part of our mission. We want to make sure that those local producers and the people that want to buy from them can be connected to each other. Okay, now I want to share with you some of the great, amazing people I get to work with. First of all, I want you to take a quick count, and what you count there is 10 board members. It's been some time since we've had a full slate of board members, and each of them are finding new ways to be able to contribute and help advance our mission. Again, my name is Jeff Allen. I'm the current president of the co-op. David Albright. David, please wave. David Albright is our vice president and past president of the co-op. Annette Haushen, new to the board. She is our treasurer, and that is also, in a real life, the executive director of Habitat for Humanity for Kitsap County. We got Ashley Martinez as our clerk, and there's Ashley, and she is the proprietor of Ashley's Pub on 4th Street in downtown. If you haven't had a chance to come down there and have a tasty drink and play a game, I encourage you to do that. That's a community gathering spot at Ashley's Pub. Also want to introduce to you Heather Pugh. Heather Pugh is new to our board. Uh, Relatively new to Kitsap County, but has quickly connected into this community and is a bright star in our community. Allison Loris, who is not with us this evening. Allison is actually one of the founding board members of the Kitsap Community Food Co-op when the board was first established back in 2009. Greg Stanek, wave, Greg. Greg is new to our board as well, and Greg is also the proprietor of Frog Soap in downtown Bremerton, and we get the chance to sell the Frog Soap products at our store. We also have Patrick Hickey. Patrick Hickey is relatively new to the area, wanted to get involved, and his passion for this community is really evident every time you get to talk to him. We have James Duffy, who's not with us this evening. James is as we've sought out to try and find new voices, James is a young voice and an energetic voice to the mission of the food co-op, and he's been instrumental in helping moving us forward and getting the wheels rolling on a lot of initiatives with the co-op. And last but absolutely not least, Amanda Reynolds, new to our co-op, and she's our questioner. She asks a lot of questions and tries to deepen her understanding of what we're doing so that we can do it well. I also want to, so first of all, I want to acknowledge this is an amazing group of people. I want to point out that these are all volunteers, that each of these people are giving up their own time. They all have jobs and lives and other endeavors going on, but many of these people are putting in hours every week in support of what we're trying to accomplish with the co-op. One thing I'd like to do is acknowledge a few board members whose term expired or resigned off of the board last year. Wendy Pond's term expired just this year, but Wendy has been involved with the co-op for a number of years, as well as serving on the board. And she continues to be our super volunteer. Alyssa Torgensen, Aaron Howell, Mary Phelps, Leslie Green, and Lou Baum were all on board previously, and we're grateful for the contributions that they've provided to the co-op over the years. And we're grateful for their continued support of what we do. A couple of really, really quick things. What are we? We are a business, but we're a business that's run a little bit differently. We're a cooperative business. And I wanted to share with you a couple of these next two slides from the International Cooperative Alliance, which was established back in 1884, where the first cooperative back in, now I can't remember the name of the town in Germany, but it was a weavers cooperative. That was considered the modern version of what a cooperative business model is. And the principles and the ideals and the values have not changed since. As a matter of fact, I want to show you the internationally accepted 7 cooperative principles that every cooperative that engages in a cooperative business venture in modern times really adheres to these 7 principles, where cooperatives are a voluntary and open membership to all. We're a democratic member operation. We are controlled by our member owners. You, as an owner of the co-op, have a stake and a say. Members participate economically. We'll talk a little bit about what's happened in the last couple of weeks with our Keeping It Fresh campaign. But economically, the member owners have a stake. This is their business, and they contribute in different ways to sustain and support the co-op. We're autonomous and independent. We are who we are. We are a collective of about 1,500 people who share a common value and a common mission to access good quality food. Nobody else does that. By the way, good news, if you haven't heard, the federal courts have squashed the merger of Kroger and Albertsons. Had that merger take taken place, we would have had three corporations in the United States that control nearly 60% of the retail grocery sales. That ain't right. And that's a part of what we try to combat. Education and training and information, talking about healthful food, healthful environments, healthful community. Cooperation among cooperatives. We connect with other cooperatives. One of our partner cooperatives is the Orcas Island Food Co-op, who over the years has helped us immensely as we've worked on our operations. They've been a great help to us. And we talk to other cooperatives all the time, and they're always willing and offer to help each other. And our concern for the community. Community is, in fact, our middle name. And so the work that we do in improving and supporting the community within which we reside is an important principle to the work that we do. All right. Now, moving on, I want to introduce David Albright. David is our vice president, and he's going to share with you some things that we've been doing to engage our broader community.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. So yes, community is our middle name, and it is also what sets us apart from your typical grocery store. So this next section here is all about our support of the community, and we both look at the community as our source of support, both as shoppers, but also as engaged participants in running this whole co-op. Because the 10 of us on the board, like Jeff said, we're all volunteers, but we have 1,500 member owners who are really the driving force behind keeping this co-op going. So when we think about our community, we think of it as really that, our source of strength and our kind of differentiator from all the other grocery stores out there. So this first slide is about a partnership we've done for the past 2 summers with the Bremerton Community Farmers Market. They actually bent their rules a little bit. Typically, they only allow direct farmers to come and sell, but we worked with them to be kind of a middle person between some of our farmers who aren't big enough or don't have the time to be at the farmers market themselves, but still want to access the customers at the farmers market. And so we were able to be there for them. So we had volunteers staffing our booth, and we were able to sell over the last 2 summers 13,000 worth of local produce on behalf of farms that could not staff a booth at the market themselves. So that was awesome, and thank you to the Bremerton Community Farmers Market for working with us on that. And then the next piece is, since our new board has formed, it's been, what, 5 months now, almost half a year. One thing we've really focused on is trying to re-engage our community. It felt like we had a super engaged community when the store opened. We felt a lot of wind in our sails from support from the community. And over time, I think people grew to look at the store as more of just a store. And so we've been really trying to engage people and get that kind of community feeling back. And so a few of the ways we've done that, we worked on increased transparency and communicating the urgency around our financial situation, just to let folks know that sales have not been where we need them to be. And so it's kind of on all of us, like I've been saying, if we want the store to open, if we want the store to stay open, it's on all of us to not only shop, but just be engaged participants in the whole mission and the whole project of this food co-op. So that was a piece of it, just the communication. And then we did a lot more outreach. So one of the most visible ways was we did 3 co-op connect meetings. So over the course of November, we held 3 separate meetings, different locations, different time of day, just trying to get as many member owners into a room with board members to just share thoughts, a little bit of sharing information on what the co-op's been up to, but mostly we just wanted to hear from people of what's working well for them about the store and what's not. We also have been doing some phone banking, which board member Greg has been kind of taken and ran with it. So thank you, Greg, for that. He's been calling, texting, emailing with individual members just to kind of get a pulse on where people are at and try and get people re-engaged. And yeah, the point of this is just to increase the sense of ownership among member owners. And Sow and Grow, this was a event that we've done, I think, for the last two springs now to kind of kick off the growing season. And we had a bunch of farm vendors and farm partners come out, giving away free starts, sharing information, and just getting people together around the store. And um, this slide is a few organizations that we've partnered with in various ways. The one that I'll call out specifically here, Bremerton Food Line, because we actually just yesterday, Amanda, our board member, um, donated what we were able to collect for the last month or so when we had the food drive going. And our member owners purchased $336 worth of food that we were able to donate to the Bremerton Food Line Food Bank. And then I think there's a couple other logos that are going to pop up. We got the flower program. This is a homegrown program that we created, the last board created. And the way it works is any member owner who receives financial assistance through any of the state or federal programs is automatically qualified to be enrolled in the flower program. And they get 10% off any shopping trip, I believe. And it's funded through when the cashier asks you if you want to round up your purchase at the end. If you do round up, that money goes to funding the discount for the flower program. So both this one and the food line are just great examples of how the co-op can serve as a connector. Um, and like I was saying, like when we think about our community, it's not us, meaning the board members doing it. We want to be able to serve as that connector between our community as both people we're supporting, but also people that are supporting us. And if we can connect people to make that happen, that's the ideal situation. And then the last piece is the provisions program. This is sort of a B2B, business to business program where coffee shops or local businesses can sign up for this program and take advantage of our local vendor relationships that we already have set up. So a lot of small businesses aren't big enough to meet the minimums for a lot of these vendors, but by going through us, we're able to help them with that and um, give them access to sort of the infrastructure that we've built up for our purchasing. And so another piece of this is your co-op campaign that we launched a couple weeks ago was the crowdfunding campaign. So earlier this fall, you all have probably noticed our beautiful produce fridge that used to always be stocked with leafy greens in the front, magically transformed into a winter squash stand. And that was partly because we love winter squash and partly because it broke and it was no longer cooling. Um, and so the crowdfunding campaign was an effort to raise money to buy a new one. And it's gone pretty well so far. We had an initial matching donation from a member of $10,000. And we have now raised that amount from the crowdfunding campaign. So we'll be getting that whole $10,000 plus another $4,000 that has been raised on top of it. So we still have a little ways to get to our goal. Our goal is $32,000, but we do have just under a month left. So we're hoping people can keep spreading the word about this and get us to that 32,000 goal. So that is it for me, and I will now introduce our fearless leader at the store, Emily.
Thanks, David. So yeah, thank you all for being here. I've officially been the store manager of your store for a year now, which I still feel like I'm new because there's still lots to learn and lots to be doing, but I do feel like I'm getting the hang of it more. So through the struggles, something that I've tried to do as far as financially is to cut spending. So we did cut back on staff hours, which really helped because we also had an influx of volunteers, which I'll talk about later. So that helped with cutting some staff hours, so keeping payroll lower. Um, And then also just prioritizing our food selection. So only purchasing what is selling well and trying to weed through the product that isn't selling well. Marking down things that if, I've always been told that product on a shelf should be paying its own rent. So if it's taking up space, it should be, paying for its own square footage that it's taking up. And I found that there was a lot of our product that wasn't paying for itself. So either it's too expensive, or maybe it's just a really oddball product that the people in our community just don't want. So I'm trying to narrow that down and figure out what we do want in our store. And so it is really helpful for me to get feedback from our member owners of what they would like to see on the shelves, to encourage them to also come into the store. So I've taken a lot of product suggestions from people, and have listened to that and brought stuff on within reason. Obviously, it has to be something that I can get through our vendors, and also be financially responsible. So yeah, just narrowing down on product, doing regular markdowns, as well as produce, making sure that we're marking down produce and having better quality produce. It's going to be definitely going to help when we have that new produce cooler. That was a bit rough there for a while, but with the brand new produce cooler, I'm confident that we will have a glorious produce selection once more. But we are doing our best to again weed through the rotten stuff and mark stuff down, but then also donating it to the food bank before it just turns to mush. Let's see, clearing out unsold. Yeah, so I think we're ready for the next slide. So yeah, thanks to all of you. We do have that new produce cooler coming. I really believe that maybe hurt us a little bit during that period where the produce cooler had broke and we weren't really sure what we were going to do. We were using a temporary cooler, and thanks to the food line, they did donate us to a working cooler, but it's just a bit small. We can't carry as much right now because of that. So that's it's really going to help. I'm really confident that we will be in a much better place once we have that produce cooler. But with that, we've had 10 new volunteers at least volunteering in the store, and that's aside from board members. So we do have a lot more board member volunteer involvement in the store, which has been great, but also just volunteers in general have increased, and that's also thanks to our new volunteer coordinator, Jennifer Green. She's done a tremendous job of retaining those volunteers and doing the orientation. So yeah, we're able to do a lot in our store right now and keep things looking really well because of our volunteers, and I'm super appreciative of that. Right now we have 4 staff members. We're going to gain another one who was a staff member, volunteered for a while, and now she's going to start as a paid employee again January 1st. Her name is Heather. And so yeah, we'll have 5 staff, and even though we're all mostly new, we are learning and we are getting the hang of it. And so I'm very excited for the new year. Thanks. Oh, and I'm so sorry. So next up is financials with Wendy.
Thanks, Emily. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to kind of blow through some numbers here real quick. Feel free if you have questions, like Jeff said, to put them in the chat and maybe I can answer some specifics. But our fiscal year runs July 1st through June 30th. So this annual meeting is based on July of 23 through June of 24. I will share some current figures with you also. But this is our 5th full year of operations. Our total gross sales since opening, this is really kind of a fun number to say, it's $2.758 million. Sounds very impressive. So that gives us an annual average gross sales of about 550,000. This past fiscal year, we were almost 10% below our average. Not going to lie, fiscal year 23-24 was very trying. It was very difficult for us. Next slide, please, Jeffrey. All right. So this is a breakdown of our sales performance for this last fiscal year. Our gross sales were just shy of 500,000, 498,665. 14,600 of that was discounts given to members or markdowns for other reasons. And that gave us a net income from sales of 484. Our cost of goods sold of that was 332. So that only left us with a gross profit for the 12-month period of 150,000, which sounds great until you realize we got to pay staffing out of that, rent out of that, utilities, everything outside of the food that we purchase to sell to our members comes out of that gross profit. And that was definitely not enough to cover all of our expenses this past year. Our gross profit margin, compared to last year when we gave this report, we were at about, I think, 36% is our gross profit margin. This year we're at 31%. Reason for that is as grocery prices have started to increase and we get a lot of feedback that our prices are already too high, Emily worked really hard to try to not raise prices as fast as our vendors were raising them for us. So that did have an impact of our gross profit margin. But I think had she raised them at the same rate that our vendors raised them, I think we would have seen a lot less in sales because, our prices are considered to be a little bit higher than mainstream grocery stores, and our people have let us know they think that. So with Emily's work, we did keep our prices down to the best that we could. Our discount effect was 3%. That's a 28% decrease over our discount effect last fiscal year. So that's a thank you to all those members who, when we say, do you want to take your discount this month, that say, nope, I'm going to leave it behind. That has helped a lot. So that was why our discount effect has decreased so much. So this is just a year-to-year sales comparison. 2020 was our first full year of operation, so I didn't include the 6 months of 2019, but we were at just shy of 500,000. 2021, as you see, we did over 600,000 in sales that year. What caused that was the pandemic. The pandemic, which hurt a lot of businesses, actually saved us because we were able to rally quickly and create a very rudimentary but usable online list of what we had in store, and people were able to order online, pick up same day, whereas the mainstream grocery stores, sometimes there was a 7 to 10 day wait for your order to be picked up. So the pandemic actually helped us. And then each year since then, we've just slowly dropped in sales. Again, I think food prices going up, cost of living is going up, and people have to cut back somewhere. The easiest place to cut back is in their grocery budget. So we have seen that. If you look at 2024, we are actually less than we were in 2020, which was our first full year of opening. Last year, I think there were a lot of factors that played into why it was one of our worst years. We lost our manager who had been with us for about 2 years in October of 23. And by the time we started the search and got Emily in, we missed out on prepping for holidays. We didn't have a good Thanksgiving program. We had some turkeys, but that was about it. So our sales for November last year were probably one of our worst months, when actually November is usually our highest month. And again, I hate to harp on this, but it is important for us being a co-op, is we still rely heavily on just our most engaged members for a lot of our income. Our total sales for the year, 50% of that was from members. The other 50% was from non-members, which says a lot to me. It says that, one, we're downtown's grocery store. People want to shop there, and they may not necessarily feel the need to be a member, but they're going to shop. Of our 1,500 members, 507 of them shopped at least once in the store. So there's a lot of members out there that still are not frequenting their grocery store. Now, of those 1,500, I'm sure there's a couple hundred who aren't even in the area anymore. They may have joined in 2008 when we first incorporated, but when only 30% of our members are actually shopping in the store at all, it's not ideal. And then of those 507, only 57 of them spent more than an average of $100 a month. So that tells me that a lot of the members, even though they do come into the store, they don't use us as their main grocery store. They use us as a convenience store or a stop in real quick to grab something. So 57 members really is what is helping keep us going, that are actually spending more than $100 a month within the store. So this is a comparison now of since the end of this last fiscal year. I don't want to give all dismal and gloom to the report. For this new current fiscal year that started July of 24, you can see that we've had some uptick. July, August, September, October still weren't great, but November hit and we had a really good month. A lot of people bought turkeys. We had some great Thanksgiving deals going on. And so that was a big jump. At our average daily sales for November were about $200 a day more than the prior month, and that's what we need. We need an average of about probably 14 to 1500 a day to be profitable, and November was pretty close to that. So because of the operational changes that Emily made, our reduction in staffing costs, and that our increased marketing from our social media that David's been doing, we saw that much needed uptick in November, and it made a difference. It made a huge difference. Additionally, just out of the blue, we didn't even have a membership drive, but we welcomed 14 new members to the co-op in November alone. So that's a good sign because those people were all people that walked in and wanted to join and said they'll be back. And quite a few of them have been shopping regularly that we've seen. So yeah, all of those things, the increased sales, the combined reduced staffing costs is getting us closer to our financial goals for the month. December's not projecting to be as high, but hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe come, as we get closer to Christmas, our holiday market will do better, but we're still looking at December being above what we were in September, October. Next slide. And then last, but definitely not least, to reiterate, what can you all do to help? Shop. If we had just 100 more people spend $30 a month in the store, we'd be golden. Tell your friends. We can definitely service more people, sell more food. Your discount, leave your discount if you can. That 14,000 that we gave away last fiscal year in discounts. Granted, that's one of the benefits of being a member. So if you need to use it, by all means, we do not want you to not. But if you can leave it, it's definitely a help. And then last but not least, use cash. Our merchant fees cost us almost $9,000 last fiscal year just for the credit card cost. A lot of businesses are going to charging a 3% fee if you use a credit card. We don't want to have to do that. I know I'm one that never carries cash. So for the longest time, I was just always using my card, but I've tried really hard lately to hit the cash machine before I shop. And that's making a big difference. Our merchant fees, I think it was last month or the month before, were about $100 less than normal. It doesn't seem like that's that much, but when you're living, penny to penny, that $100 difference in a month makes a huge difference. So that's all I have on finances. If you have any questions, like I say, put them in the chat and we'll answer them as we go. And back to you, Jeff.
Okay. Wendy, thank you. Thank you very much. Again, if you have questions, please put those into the chat, or we'll hold those off to the very end. So now we'll just talk a little bit about the state of the co-op. You've heard from this board over the last year and a half of the challenges that we're having in operating this business. This is a business, and keeping this business afloat. If you look at the challenges of inflation and food access and shipping and transportation costs, everything is costing more. And so that makes it that much more of a challenge for a tiny little 800 square foot community owned grocery store to be able to compete and meet the needs of our member owners in our community vis-a-vis these giant corporate grocery stores. But we're doing it, and we're going to continue to do it. About a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago, the board established two goals. And this new board is continuing on with those two goals. The first goal is we have to sustain operations at our current store. We know that the future can be different for the store, but we know also that if we stop selling food and making the connections to the community that we currently have, we lose momentum. So we've been target focused on improving the sustainability of this tiny little store with the idea, plan or goal number 2, developing a plan to expand our operations. That might be expanding the footprint of the store that we're at, or expanding to a different location, or it might be opening a separate store somewhere. We don't know yet, so we're going to be working on that plan, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Relative to that first goal, so sustaining operations in the store, I think you've gotten a sense of the work that we've been doing over the last few months and focusing on strengthening our marketing efforts. A big kudos to David Albright, but a lot of other people have been engaged trying to get the word out through social media and different events, and how we have different in-store promotions and the like to really strengthen our connections and our marketing efforts. It pays off, by the way. Strengthening our community outreach. So our engagement with member owners through our listening sessions and our expanding local partnerships with other producers, other farms, other nonprofit organizations, and another co-op in our community, Kitsap Fresh, and how we strategically are working together to reach out to our community and better serve all. Analyzing product selection and merchandising, prioritizing. We have our new Catapult system, our point of sale system, that is a rich data source for us to be able to look at what sells, what products are available, but at the same time, also think about member feedback and what they're interested in and what they want. By the way, on the side, if there's something that you don't see in the store and you would like it to be in the store, talk to Emily. She can find it. She can find a source for it for you and be able to bring that in. Our Keeping It Fresh campaign. I'm so proud of this. In just a few short weeks, we were able to raise over $24,000 to be able to create or purchase a new produce cooler. We're talking to vendors and shippers and installers right now. We hope to make the order for our first big 8-foot long produce cooler in the next week or so. And that's because, and it's a great example of how this community comes together. It's your co-op. And finally, just more volunteers in the store. We've had some great people that have been coming into the store, giving their time, whether it's working in the store or serving on committees, or helping us think through a lot of the processes. Our volunteers are what make this operation go. So these are some of the things that we've been doing to meet goal number 1, which is, again, sustaining the operations in our current store. We don't want to close the store. But goal number 2 is developing plans to expand operations and seeking a larger store. Now, I want to be clear about something. All of these people are volunteers, right? We have a couple of business owners and marketers and researchers and educators. None of them are professional grocery store operators, planners, developers, and designers. And so we need help. And specifically, as we look to expand and strengthen our business model and our position to be able to better serve our community, we need to do some things. We need deeper business analysis of the market and developing a plan. We need a market research study that talks about this community and what is the best way to serve it. And as we look towards expanding into a new location, we need to do site evaluations and other studies to delve into that. Here's the deal. Those things cost a lot of money. A quality market research study is going to be somewhere around $20,000. Consultants for business planning is expensive. So to meet that need, we've applied for a USDA Healthy Food Financing Initiative Technical Assistance Grant. We're about to submit that application in the next couple of days. Heather Pugh and I have been working on that, and we're really excited to be able to have been invited. We first submitted a letter of interest and shared a little story about our co-op, And the USDA came back to us and said, we'd like to invite you to continue on with the application process. So we're filling that out. That is going to provide us access to funding to support hiring consultants, hiring someone to do a market study, and connecting with people that have done this before and help us develop a stable and strong business plan. And finally, locally, we're trying to figure out how we can connect better and integrate better with some of our partners in the community. Specifically, Kitsap Fresh. Many of you, I'm sure, are aware that Kitsap Fresh is also a cooperative. Kitsap Fresh specifically is a cooperative of producers, farmers, that then have an online market to be able to sell their products. The board president of Kitsap Fresh, Josh DeWitt, and myself have been meeting over the year casually and talking about different ways that we can strengthen each other's position and work together more, whether it be wholesale purchasing or the like. And so we're continuing to have those conversations all the way up to recognizing that Kitsap Fresh is a cooperative of producers. The Kitsap Community Food Co-op is a cooperative of consumers. And both of our missions are to bring those two groups of people together. So we're excited and continuing to work with Kitsap Fresh to find ways that we can better do that. There's lots of options. All right. Finally, this is a call to all of you, and there's lots of people that are not with us today, so it's a call to you to share this with other people, how we can support our food co-op. First of all, this is your grocery store. Why wouldn't you want to shop at your grocery store? Go shop at your grocery store. And as Wendy said, if 100 people just spent $30 a month more, that would have a huge impact on our sustainability. Shop at the store. Round up to the register. Our flour program, that discount program for low-income families that David described earlier, is funded through your round up to the register. So when you round up an extra dollar, and Wendy, correct me if I'm wrong, but in our roundup to the register program, we've collected approximately $1,800, and we have provided $1,400 in discounts to our flour members. This is what cooperatives do. So thank you. Continue to round up at the register. Tell others about the co-op. Tell people that, hey, I own a business. It's this little grocery store downtown. Tell them what it's about. Tell them how they can come shop there and be involved. You're happy to volunteer with us. If you would like to come and work in the store, if you would like to come and be a part of helping us put on our Sow and Grow event or some of our community outreach and picnics, or if you got some business acumen and you'd like to contribute to help us develop our business plan and our operational know-how, bring it. We'd love to have you on. Come to us to our board meetings. Our board meetings are the third Wednesday of the month down at Ashley's Pub. Please come. We'd love to have you there. Join a committee. We'll talk a little bit later, and you'll hear a little bit later about in the next few weeks our marketing committee as well as our business development committee. If you would like to be a part of those and help it as a community member, please join. And if you have any questions or any concerns or anything you'd like to share, feel free to reach out to us. We can be reached at board@kitsapfood.coop. All right, that concludes the information that we wanted to share with you this evening. We have some time, so this is a period of question and answer. I don't see any questions that, oh, yes, I do. Susan, you popped one in. And tell you what, Susan, we have some time now. Let's just have a casual conversation. I'm going to turn off the PowerPoint presentation so we can see ourselves better. And let's just take a few minutes. If you have any questions for us as a board, we'd be happy to converse with you. Susan, I saw your comment there. If you want to, if you're interested, go ahead and open up your mic and share. Oh, I see. Okay. You bet. And that's one of the, so if you haven't read I'll read your comment. Can you ask people in the newsletter if they have special food needs? I'm a severely sensitive celiac and can only eat a very few manufactured foods. If there are enough members who are celiac, then the co-op could carry certain items that many of us could buy. I personally know how of that challenge and the challenge of being able to find the food that you need, that you can eat. And so, yes, Susan, that's a great idea, and us being able to promote that and share that hey, look, we're a source for the kinds of foods that people need to stay healthy. So, thank you for bringing that up, Susan.
I'm sorry, I had some technical difficulties. I had to start the meeting on my phone, and just now I was trying desperately to turn on or unmute my microphone. I don't know why. I do a lot of other Zoom meetings. I've never had a problem, but anyway, I'm here now.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Also say a couple months ago, one of our staff members / volunteers, Heather, put together a list of all the gluten-free items that we have in the store. So I would encourage you, I don't know if you know Heather, but she would be happy, I'm sure, to show you all the gluten-free stuff.
Well, there's a problem here.
Okay.
I don't do gluten-free foods because they use starches that are very damaging. They spike your blood sugar. So there's a misconception in the public that gluten-free foods are healthy. They aren't. They're very dangerous. So what I would like to order is there are a couple of bread companies. One is in Toronto, I think. It makes a bread out of almond flour and all safe ingredients, just like I would at home. And it's called Unbun. I don't know if you've heard of it. UNBUN, Unbun. And they're delicious. They're more expensive, but I don't eat in restaurants. So all my money mostly goes to food. And so anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. People who aren't aware of that about gluten-free foods, think that it's safe, and they're not.
I've heard of Unbun before. We sold it at the last store that I worked at. So I will definitely look into it and see if it's something that is available for me to purchase.
Oh, that's great, because we were gone for the month of November, and I was able to buy it in other food co-ops.
Sure. Yeah, I'll definitely look at it. Like I said, I've seen it before, so I know it was very popular at the last store I worked at.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things too. I always like to tout the case orders. So even if it's not something that we carry in the store, you can always ask Emily, as long as our distributors carry it, she can do a case order of it for you. So if it's something that you know you're going to eat a bunch of, that's a great solution too.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have a question that they would like to share? Feel free to just open up your mic. We have a small enough group so that we don't have to. We can talk over ourselves until one starts their question.
Let's see. Start my video too. Okay.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah. I wanted to just build on the comment about the case orders. Carol and I do a lot of case orders. I mean, if we don't see it in the store, but it's something that we've found elsewhere and we like it, then Emily's been like just about 100% has found it in case form for us. And, we find a place to tuck it away, and some things have to go in the freezer, but we do a lot of case orders, and we're very happy with that system. And I think Emily probably would say we're probably the #1 case orderer, but
you probably are.
It works fabulous. I mean, we get a lot of the food that way. So this whole thing about, well, you can't find it at the co-op, you actually can, as long as you're willing to order a case of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes a case is like only 6, and sometimes it's 12 or maybe 4. So
what kind of stuff do you get in the case order, Charlie? I'm always curious what people case order.
So we get dates. Although you carry dates in the store, we still get them in an 11-pound box. We get some no salt added diced tomatoes. And we get some tomato paste. We got some organic wild blueberries through Azure. They're just excellent. And wild blueberries are really loaded with antioxidants. They're more than just regular blueberries. We used to buy them at Trader Joe's, but gee, we could get them through the co-op. We get them a 5-pound box at a time. So those are just some examples. Do you have anything else up the top here?
No.
Yeah.
If I look through the pantry, I'd probably
Yeah, tortillas. We just got pitas that we wanted, whole wheat pita bread, pita pockets. So we have to go look through the pantry to figure out what else it was that we get.
Kevin, just say hello.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me, Kevin?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you, Kevin.
So just in case orders to let everybody else know, when I was planning for the Four Corners Loop Trail hiking for 6 months, I bought probably about 270 pounds out of my 300 pounds of food from the co-op via case orders, and I didn't get tired of any of it. It was all really good. So especially the blueberries, they were great.
We had a really good sales month that month too.
Yeah. Yeah, when you buy 250 pounds of dried fruit in 1 month, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise we buy our toilet paper in case orders to the food co-op. So that's one thing that we do there.
We'll put that order in again.
Yeah. That's why I don't have any questions though.
Okay. But that's, but I'm glad it's kind of gone in that direction, because the idea of case orders and bulk buys and bulk case orders, this is what co-ops do. You can't go up to Fred Meyer and say, hey, can I get not that you'd want to necessarily buy their whole wheat pita bread, but that you can't go up there and just order a case and get the benefit of that discount. Whereas we serve ourselves, we work towards each other. So appreciate that. Any other questions anybody would have? Otherwise, we're gonna wind it down.
I have a question.
Seriously.
One thing I've noticed in the 3 years I've been here is I've never seen an ad in any paper or anything local that this has the name Kitsap Community Food Co-op. And I know how important advertising is. I used to work in that, and wondered, do you have a plan to do that? We need to keep the name out in front of people.
You betcha. I mean,
that's a great question.
I'll turn it to you, David.
Well, I will say we did one time, as far as I know, in the history of the co-op, a paid ad campaign with the Kitsap Sun. But the issue is always just budget. So most grocery stores will devote a certain percentage of their sales or their budget or whatever to marketing. We've never had the luxury of consistently turning a profit to where we're able to do that. So we did earmark a little bit of the crowdfunding campaign budget for potentially a marketing campaign. There was a little bit of question mark on that, but so if we're able to reach the goal of that 32,000, that's something we'll consider. But really for us at this point, it's just, it comes down to budget. We don't have the budget to do it. So,
and through other means, we very heavily leverage social media channels, and we've got a couple of members that are able to actually boost. We got a former board member that was it's an employee for Facebook or a contractor with Facebook, and she can boost some of our posts in social media. So we leverage that because it's a little bit cheaper. But I totally get what you're saying, Susan, that leveraging it into the newspaper is impactful.
One thing that was interesting, I was living in Port Townsend for 10 and a half years and a member of the Port Townsend Food Co-op. They would many times just have a little ad. I mean, it was just all it had was the co-op. And I'm sure that isn't very expensive in like the Kitsap Sun. I don't know what their charges are for advertising, but you don't have to do a lot. Just get it in front of people. I will donate my art services. I'm a retired artist. for anything that you need for doing an ad or whatever.
That's
So
awesome.
I've talked with David a little bit about that, and I'll get back with you, David.
Okay, yeah.
I
Right on.
smashed my thumb, so I haven't been able to do any artwork.
Oh no.
I'll just
we
add
do.
a little.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead,
David.
Wendy.
Go ahead.
No,
I
you
was
can
just
go.
going to say that we had a generous member donate a marketing budget to us. I think it was 2 years ago. We did run the ad in the paper. They're actually quite pricey considering what you get. And then we also did some coupon postcards that were put in all of the new apartments down on the waterfront for people that moved in. I don't think we ever got a single coupon back. It was just a very, I don't know, it was a pricey lesson in marketing, I guess, that, we printed all these special coupons, said, welcome to the neighborhood. We're 3 blocks away. Here's 2 coupons to spend. And
How
nobody ever.
many
Yeah.
total did you do?
Well, we did a ton and we gave the supply to the people at Sound West Group. And as people moved in, they put them in their welcome baskets. And yeah, I think we printed
Yeah.
maybe 1,200.
Yeah, probably need to do more than that to really get a good return.
Yeah.
I'll say
Yeah,
another
it's
thing that
Marketing is
challenging.
the deal.
another thing that we try and do, but we could be doing more of, is the little posters. So we have just the 8.5 by 11, like normal paper size thing that we print out. And it's a constant battle to keep them out there. So that would be another thing that we could, if any of y'all on this call have a free afternoon, come grab a stack from us at the store and take it around to community message boards. It's a great way to get our name
Yeah,
out there.
that's a very inexpensive way, very effective way
Yep.
to do it.
Yeah, I'm moving. Hey, this is Kevin. I still think, like 400 shipyard workers park in that parking garage. I really think if you just walk the sandwich board one block down where the little granite traffic circle is, so they have to look at that every time they come into from work. If it says something like, hey, don't sit in the 20-minute traffic jam, walk 1 block down, buy some groceries and bring them home. That's totally cheap. It just has to be walked down.
Yeah.
1 block and it sits right there. I know there's the one in front of the store, but all those people that come out of that store and walk into the shipyard gate, some people I think that's passive advertising. That's super cheap.
Educating the
Thanks,
public
Kevin.
too about what a co-op is really important, because I've been shocked at the number of people who have lived here for decades who didn't know there was a food co-op here.
Yeah.
So it's
Exactly.
really important.
Well, it is 7 o'clock, and so we offered an hour for this session. So unless there is any other urgent questions that people might have, I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for coming. Those that watch us later on YouTube and our Facebook channel, thank you for being a part of the co-op. Thank you for supporting the co-op. Thank you for supporting your business because you're an owner to it. And thank this board. Thank these people that are volunteering so much of their time and effort and lives to fulfill in this mission. All right, that's it. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording.